Well, how are you folk? It's me, Dr. B, with your tea. That's right, it's tea time with Dr. B. Hi, I'm Dr. Ramona Brockett, and I've had shows on the internet for years. But with this election, I thought I'd get back on because I think that, well, I know what I've observed. And I know what those observations do. They make me think. And I think that what I see in the reaction to the candidates by people is not anything but confusion. It doesn't seem like anybody's talking about the issues. The only person maybe a little bit closer to the issues might be Trump, because he has a whole outline, for 2025. Kamala seems to pick up on the things that make Trump sound stupid, and she capitalizes on them. In the meantime, her platform is, let's move forward. Does that mean more of the same? Oh, it's a bright sunny day here in New York, but I'm gonna tell you right now, the temperature is drip, 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 dropping. So I'm in my little hat and my little sweater, and I'm here to tell you, and by the way, I have two videos going on at the same time, one up and one down. I probably should just look here, and it would be kind of like in between both, who knows? But anyway, I'm here to spill some tea. And, why am I here to spill tea? This is my spilled tea cup. I'm here, it looks like my dog. I'm here to spill some tea. And it's not the kind of tea like Diddy tea. And it's not the kind of tea where, ooh, is that what happened? No, this tea has to do with the intellectual prowess of those running for president of these United States. This is the tea. Let me tell you what's at stake, and we've talked about this before. Look on my other two commentaries. I just started calling it the tea with Dr. B. So, but other than that, it's Ramona Brockett, Dr. Ramona Brockett J.D. Ph.D. They gave me those degrees just because I'm a black girl. It's not like I earned them, but that's a whole other story. All right, so voting rights. Voting rights are at stake. Remember I talked about the Electoral College? And how the Electoral College has all this power because during slavery, an institution that the Democrats did not want to get rid of. Democrats and black folk just been friends since the 60s. Don't get it twisted. Anyway, back on point. Voting rights. We lost the right to speak to the Attorney General of the United States directly if our votes were not being measured, counted. Let me say it again. We lost our right to go to the Attorney General if votes are suppressed in some way. And not the Attorney General of the state or the Commonwealth, the Attorney General of the United States. We lost that right under Obama. Yeah. A little bit after Coretta passed, in fact. Coretta, whose husband worked hard for the vote. That's why they had the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Yeah, that Voting Rights Act. That President Johnson, through executive order, only allowed to live until 1982. In fact, he said, and I've talked about it several times, he said to Martin Luther King, listen, I believe, Johnson said sincerely, as sincerely as he could say it, I believe that the Southern Democrats will welcome the black vote by 1982. The country will have gone so much further down the line. Okay? Well, and he signed it. And then in 1982, who's the president? Ronald Reagan. He had no need to even, from his perspective, he had no need to even acknowledge any of this stuff going on, right? So what did he do? He signed it for another 25 years. So the right to vote has come in increments. It's not, that act is simply an act. I just did the act of this with my finger. It's simply an act. Do I doing this with my finger give you the right to do, I don't know, pass gas on a Sunday at 12 noon? I don't know. But the act, as signed by President Johnson, witnessed by Martin Luther King, that act was just that, an act. It wasn't a law. So 25 more years, it's W. W signed it for another 25 years, which would bring us to 2032. But when Obama got in, I just knew that he would push to have equality in voting rights for everyone. I just knew he'd do that. I didn't know that his Attorney General, okay, Holder is his last name, okay, Eric Holder, that his Attorney General was going to have a case brought to him by white people in North Carolina. The case was Shelby versus, wait for it, what's his name? Holder. Shelby versus Eric Holder. And you know what the whole ding was? The whole ding was that we are a race-neutral society. Now that we have a black president, we are now race-neutral. Ooh. How fun is that? So what does that mean? There's no need, if there's voter suppression, to go to the Attorney General of the country anymore. There's no need. In fact, the last time that happened was in 1992 under Janet Reno. And that case was Shelby County, I believe, versus Janet Reno. And she made sure, she said, hey, yeah, come to the Attorney General. Just a few short years later, 20 years later, really, if you think about it. Yeah, because that was 93. This was decided in 2013. Yeah. 20 years later, just 20 years later, they're erased because we are a race-neutral society. Okay, so let me move on. Civil rights and human rights. Many of you know when I was in Maryland, there was an attempt on my life. And I'm too black for them to have found the culprit, but neither here nor there. That attempt caused me to be fully disabled. And so I had an issue here in New York, and they sent me to a disability lawyer because that's a basic human right. Okay. Human right. If I were gay, gays have human rights. Now, I don't know if there's a difference between gays who are white and gays who are black, but gays have human rights. Women also have human rights. People who look like me have civil rights. Civil rights. Civil rights. Why? Because it can be legislated legally. And why legally? Well, that brings us to the 3/5 rule. That brings us right to kind of to the Electoral College and back to voting. That just brings us right up in there. Why? Because when Lincoln ran, while there were a ton of white people above the Mason-Dixon line in America, below the Mason-Dixon line in America, the area where America was becoming filthy rich due to free labor, those Americans who could vote, chiefly European Americans who could vote, said, wait a minute, our vote's not going to be heard because we have 4 million white landowners and white people here, but we have 6 million African slaves. Our vote should be a vote and whatever they're worth. Well, what were Africans worth? 3/5 of people, so not whole people, which, let me remind you, you know that big document, it starts out, we the people. In order to be a people, you have to be a citizen. Or maybe in order to be a citizen, you have to be a people. If you're 3/5, you aren't a people, you're definitely not a citizen, and you don't get the protections under the amendments that cover. Another lecture for another day. Let's get back. So, how curious is this? How curious is this? The popular vote, we complain about it all the time. The popular vote, that's the vote that got this one in or that one in. But the Electoral College is who really dictates who wins in America. Well, they dictate those desires by the people who dictate to them. But let's just say it's all right here on these shores. Anyway, the Electoral College still benefits from the 3/5 compromise. So the reason their vote is powerful is because it's a vote and 3/5. These are the things that need to be talked about. Now, mind you, I saw Kamala say it. I'm not just going to do things for black people. Is that what the puppet master does? Interesting. And what she's saying is, we're just going to move forward. 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 What does that mean? Does that mean much of the same? Is that what that means? Are we going to have more naked trannies celebrating on the White House lawn? I can't even talk. The White Horse lawn. I used to go to this great restaurant called the Black Horse Inn up in Mendham. So delicious. So when I go the White House lawn, I want to say, one of those things that happens, you know, as you get, I'm 62. I mean, come on, give me a break. Anyway, are we going to be privy to the trannies taking off their shirts and dancing with their artificial breasts on the White House lawn? Is that what we look forward to? More of the same? More of the same? There's a whole lot of interesting more of the same happening. More of the same. Love my neck. I think my neck is getting old. Anyway, I guess we'll see in time. You know, when I was a little girl, we went to this Christian camp run by nuns who had come from Germany, Hitler's Germany. It was very, very interesting summers in Liberty Corner, New Jersey. Even the name Liberty Corner, but it was sweet and great as a kid. But anyway, so we'd be in hall. I forgot they called it some kind of hall, rec hall or something. And we go in the mornings. Boys would be on the left side, girls on the right, and we'd sing this song. And this one song, you know, when I think of the time we have to make a proper decision regarding Kamala and Trump, I began to think about time. And then I thought about this song. And it went, the part of it went, 10 and 9, 8 and 7, 6 and 5 and 4. Call upon the Savior while you may. 3 and 2, coming through the clouds are bright array. The countdown's getting lower every day. Then we go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off. And we say, somewhere in outer space, God has prepared a place for those who trust Him and obey. I can sing, but I'm a little tired today. Jesus will come again, although we don't know when. The countdown's getting lower every day. 10 and 9, 8 and 7, 6 and 5 and 4. Call upon the Savior while you may. 3 and 2, coming through the clouds are bright always. The countdown's getting lower every day. Diddy's not running for president. Wake up.